What is up, nerds? It is me, your buddy, your pal, HeyArcher. Welcome back to a special episode of HeyArcher, or Rambling, or kind of just going to wing it from there and see where it goes. If you're new here, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. We're almost at 200 subs. When 200 happens, we're launching the merch store, but that's a whole nother video. We got some viewers in the house. If you guys want to leave some comments, questions in the comment section, of course you can do so. On today's episode, we are actually going to have, for the first time ever, two guests at the same time. Right now, I don't think they know they're muted, so I can't hear anything that they're saying. So why don't we bring them in? Let's switch some camera views on here. All right, fellas, you are now live. We got Aaron in the house. We got Anthony in the house. Fellas, how are you doing today?
Hey, how you doing? How's it going?
All right, man. How you doing?
I probably should have told you guys I was going to meet you when we started there.
All good.
It is a learning experience, I will say. And now, in today's technical difficulties, I can't see you.
Nah, I'm not going to look at it, so you're okay.
Let's see here. Here's your picture. It's funny with this thing. It was one of those where I had the idea to do live, and then I didn't bother test any of it out first. So that's standard operating procedures.
How we learn, man. We just got to learn on the fly.
Yeah, you're doing it live. That's the phrase, right?
Yeah, that's part of the fun of the show.
You're winging it. Exactly.
You're
good.
So on today's episode of, we're just going to roll with Rambling on this one because it was Anthony's idea. We actually wanted to talk about one of the greatest animated series of all time, Batman, the animated series. And actually, I liked the idea when Anthony brought it up because we actually are, we just came off one of the best animated movies to date as far as DC goes. And, Karma Cashflow in the house. What is up, Karma? Good to see you. So we came off one of the best animated movies so far to date. So when you mentioned it, I was like, hey, why not talk about the best when referencing the best? Now, for the sake of not doing any spoilers, Anthony, have you seen Apocalypse War yet?
I was going to say I have not, so unfortunately I'm just going to have to bow out. If you want to talk about it in depth for a minute, I'll mute you.
No worries. I want you to experience that movie.
I need to see it. I know it's on. It's going to happen soon. Believe me.
Yeah.
Just like Clone Wars.
Yes, definitely Clone Wars. I guess quickly on that one, Aaron, have you finished Clone Wars yet?
No, I haven't gotten there yet.
You guys, man, I'm telling you, just
you know, I'm still working a lot. I'm sorry.
All right. And of course we have another guest in the house, Andrew. Welcome. Talking about that Clayface episode though. So why don't we'll dive in. We'll just head straight for it. And then all of you can kind of just comment along as we go. So we'll just go, I guess, alphabetical order on this one. Aaron, and I don't, in case I didn't mention it, I might have messed up the phrasing because my brain's all scattered. We're talking our 3 best moments, but it's not exclusive to a moment. It could be an episode. It could be an arc or whatnot, but it could be, it could be anything. But it's those 3 kind of like wow moments for you in the series, if that all makes sense.
Yeah, I think that sums it up.
All right. So, Aaron, why don't you lead us off?
Are we starting at 3, 2, 1, or are we going 1, 2, 3?
That's a very valid question. So Anthony and myself did not rank these. So for that reason, we'll just go 1, 2, 3.
I didn't really rank them. I just thought I would ask.
That's a valid question, though.
Yeah, no, mine aren't like ranked. They're just kind of like two of
Just
one,
like these
two
the
tied
most.
together. Yeah, like
Gotcha.
two tied
Okay.
together and then one separate. Anyway.
Okay. So I'll just start with one of mine. So one that I liked a lot was, and I did everything based on episodes, was Beware the Great Ghost. In this episode, it's mainly just Batman encountering very much a counterpart of his, but it's just like an old school version. I think if I'm not wrong, they kind of based it off of like the Adam West Batman, just very kind of old school pre-Batman kind of thing. I just like the character of the Great Ghost, and just his essential influence as to what Bruce Wayne would use to become Batman.
Yes, yeah, that was a great one, and yeah, that was Adam West and very pre-Batman, showing how he got some inspiration from a TV show, which was cool.
And
I just thought it was very interesting that like you always kind of consider Batman to be like his own thing, not really have any influence or basis of what he would ultimately become. And I just thought it was kind of, that he based it off of like a TV show that he watched as a kid, or like a hero of his. But nobody really knew about this character, I guess. It was just one of those weird things that I just kind of enjoyed.
I was going to say I think the part as a kid that made that one so good, I'm just going to make the pictures a little bit bigger. One of the things that I think I love the most was that was the almost epitome of what you wanted to happen as a kid. Like, you grow up watching superheroes and you're like, man, that'd be so cool if I could actually be a hero. And then you got to see, Batman grow up to be a hero, but then meet the person that influenced him to do so. And it's one of those where, Dick Grayson was like that original character. Like they brought him in so kids could be like, oh, I could be there with Batman. But this showed you that even as an adult, you can still kind of have that moment of, whoa, I get to finally be with my hero and fight side by side, which who knew that would ever happen, because to Batman, that was just a TV show. So it brought a whole nother level to that one.
Yeah. No, all that was really cool. I love that episode actually too. It's not on my list. Damn you. I should have taken that. But I don't know why. The thing I love most about that one is when they're in the cave and and the Great Ghost is just like, this is like an exact replica of my thing. And like going back to what you said, it's like how much
I think it's just weirdly meta. And I think that's what makes it so appealing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good.
And it's just funny to think like, it's also cool because it's like now you kind of look at that now and you're like, oh, he spent all his money making an exact thing, like fan worshiping his TV show. It's his headquarters. It's where he has his dark brooding moments, but he made something from his childhood into a reality because he loved it that much. That was cool.
Yeah. All right. So why don't we go next to Anthony? We'll kind of keep alternating as we go through it.
Sounds good. So the first one I wanted to talk about was from when it was still called the animated series, the first season, where it's episode 3 where he fights Scarecrow for the first time. And really the whole episode, but like especially towards the end, where he gives the I am vengeance, I am the night speech. It's just cool because like even now it's campy, but that scene, that speech, when I was watching it to like send Steve the time code and whatnot, I was just like, yeah, that still works. Still gets me excited and everything. But also it's like just cool because like he just wills himself. It like shows the character because he just wills himself through a fear toxin exposure rather, not episode exposure. So it just shows you like how it's like really great writing and I think it's just really great writing, and it shows like it's little things like that where you go back and you watch it again and again and again, you pick up on, you're like, holy shit, he willed himself through that thing, and it's like drives other people to be like insane, or like they're just like cowering little piles on the floor. So between the speech and looking at it, like I said, that seems pretty cool for me.
The part 2 with that is, it, up to that point, the animated series, like you said, it's episode 3, so it's just starting, and all we had of Batman was, as far as media goes, you had the 1989 movie, you had the Adam West show, and then it was comic books. And it was always in the media or TV and movies, there was no like detective work. There was no mind game. It was just brute strength almost. And in that one, you had a moment where you're like, oh, his mind beat this. And not even just a mind of like solving a riddle. It was like just sheer will to actually beat it. So that's definitely a highlight, because it also sets the tone for what that series was supposed to be.
And they lived up to it.
I feel like with Scarecrow, like they always make it kind of interesting in the animated series, as well as like the video games and like the Christopher Nolan movies. It was kind of underutilized, but just the fact that they can kind of use that as can go anywhere and really have any different sort of how people view certain things or whatever their fears may be kind of come to life. And just like the vast array of what that can be, I just like the open possibilities of what that could present. And obviously Batman always overcoming it by his sheer willpower. I mean, it just makes him more badass in probably just about every single way.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
And sorry.
No. These are all just it's just such a great show. Like even as we're going through this, it's just like, these are all, oh wait, we had a gift from Zoom. Look at that. Love it. Oh, you guys, I don't know if you guys are able to see that on there. Nothing like a Zoom ad.
I don't know what that means, but okay.
Yeah.
What happened?
A Zoom ad popped up in the middle of the stream.
Oh, there you go.
All right. So my first one on the list is going to be on Leather Wings, actually episode 1. And the reason for that, actually, wait. Yeah, that was the first. I'm right now. I'm confused if Leather Wings was the first one or Night of the Bat's first one. It might be Night of the Bat.
According to the DC app, on Night of the Bat.
It is Night of the Bat, right?
No, I'm trying to remember which one Night of the Bat is. Leather Wings is the first one on the DC app.
Okay.
For whatever that's worth.
So then that's the first episode then.
Yeah. I always thought it was Red Claw was the first episode, but I don't know why. But
I know the first one's with Man-Bat, but I can never remember which one is the first one.
Yeah.
Well,
we'll assume it's Leather Wings.
Yeah.
The reason I liked it, not only is it the first episode or whatnot, but I think it's the only episode that actually has like blood in it, because after he's riding on the grappling hook when the Man-Bats take him to the construction site and they crash land, the cops show up with all the lights and stuff, and Batman looks up and he actually has like blood coming out of his mouth. And as a kid, I was like, oh wow, I was like, that's pretty violent. Like this show's pretty intense. I think it's the only one that actually has it, but that always stood out to me, like watching that episode and just being like, wow, there's actually adult stuff in this cartoon. But it was also, again, being an intro into Batman in a new way. Actually, it had, what do you call it? It had detective work. Like he had to figure out the mystery of who this person was. And it was like a Dr. Jekyll type scenario.
Yeah, they did that really well in this show, like showing him not just, I mean, as a kid, there were a couple times like, I was like, oh, when's he going to punch something? But again, when you watch it now, it's better because you're like, oh yeah, wow, they really do show multiple times in this series how he is a great detective. There's that one. And I think also another good example was, I forget what it was called, but the first one with Ra's al Ghul. Mm-hmm. The one where they introduced him, like they did it really well.
Yeah,
a whole lot of different things they did well on that show.
The one thing I want to do, actually, I forgot to do it, was as we go through these, as people comment on the episode you're talking about, I want to kind of reference that. So the first one, oh, what's up, Mike? Good to see you here. Welcome.
Hi, Mike.
Where did oh, won't let me go that far back. Well, there was, oh, here it is. Karma Cashflow, he mentioned that he has seen the Scarecrow episode. So Karma, I'm assuming that you're not a hardcore Batman the Animated Series fan, but enjoyed it. So I'm curious if you have like a favorite moment you could think of the show, and maybe we can try to piece together what episode it is. I think that'd be kind of fun.
Guess the episode.
Try to guess the episode, yeah. And then on Man-Bat, Andrew was saying that he had a giant toy of the Man-Bat. which I vaguely remember seeing that in the toy stores. But my favorite part of that was Andrew pointing out that the Man-Bat had pants on.
Well, that's okay. When it was his wife, they had to make sure to leave a blouse on her.
Yeah, but only I think only at the end. I think in the beginning of the episode it was just pants, and it was that final change.
I don't remember.
I don't remember that one.
I remember but I don't remember how it was for her.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, you said you wouldn't do it again.
Yeah, that whole episode.
Yeah. All right, Aaron, what's your second one?
So my second one is the title is super long. If you're so smart, why aren't you rich? This one is a Riddler episode. I don't know if it was the introduction of Riddler per se, but essentially it's Edward Nygma builds a maze and Batman and Robin have to navigate through it because I think he was going to kill his boss or something like that with not a sphinx, but like it was a specific like god or something like that in the center of the maze or something like that. But it combines like two of my favorite elements, which is the Riddler. I think he's my favorite villain just because I don't know why. I just like puzzles type of thing. Mm-hmm. And then in combination with that, the whole maze, just figuring out different elements and how to get through it. I think there's a part with like that they have to figure out like a certain key or different things like that. It's not the most like groundbreaking episode, I don't think, but it's just like a fun element of different aspects being thrown at Batman and Robin constantly that I just really enjoyed that part as a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Steve.
Oh no, you can go first.
I remember that. Like I've said to Steve many times, if I remembered other things I'm studying as well as the show, it'd be okay. But I remember that one, and also I thought it was cool. Like it's cool because it started to show you like technology too, because the show obviously had a very old school feel. But like I feel either him or Robin like takes a friggin' something off the Batmobile and they put it on it's a palm top computer, and now we would just do that. He would just, and then that in the game they had the whole gauntlet computer thing going on. But he did a whole lot in that episode, and it was like what's the thing with the like a sword, right? Because they were going to cut the boss in half.
Yeah, something like that. I don't remember exactly what that element of it. I mainly remember like the Riddler and Maze part, but I remember there was like that creature that had like a sword that was like going to cut the boss in half or something like that.
Yeah, and it was cool because I feel like I liked how when they brought in Robin, it made sense kind of like for him helping him on the. It made sense, but like when they bring him in, it worked. Like him helping him with the maze and all that stuff. I'm completely lost my train of thought. I apologize, but I just like how they brought him in. Sorry, I'll shut up now.
That's fine. No, but that's I agree with that actually. It's any episode where Robin actually is like a contributor to what's happening, I think was a game changer back then. Because again, Robin was supposed to be you in the show, and to see him actually like helping and not just being another like damsel in distress type thing. Points on that. All right, that's a good one. All right, Anthony, you're number 2.
My number 2 is when they changed it to the new Batman Adventures, where Dick Grayson is Nightwing now, and he's telling Tim Drake / Jason Todd why he stopped being Robin. Mainly, like the episode's good, but mainly like that end part after they've dealt with the Joker and everybody, and they kind of have a little conversation, and he's fed up, he quits. When I like it for a couple of reasons. I like it because it shows you how down into Batman he's gotten now. Like, because I feel like earlier season, first season, animated animated series when they were still calling it that. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's like kind of a lighter, happier Batman in a way. And now like the new Batman Adventures, he was just like all in it. He didn't even change his voice anymore. He was kind of just always had the Batman voice going on. He didn't think twice about like bringing in, like he didn't think about how it would affect Dick. It was just all about the mission. And even when he quits, it's not like, oh shit, wait a minute, I've just alienated my son. He goes, Robin, wait. And then he turns around and decks him. So I like that because it shows like how far down into how little Bruce Wayne is left anymore. And also how trusting he was and how close he was to Robin, because anybody else, I feel like he would, who's going to spin around, like, who's going to get that, not a sucker punch, but who's going to land that punch on Batman? Nobody, except for somebody he trusted as much as he did Robin. So I think that scene showed a lot, like showed you how little Bruce Wayne is left, showed you how deep the connection really was between him and Robin, and just how like unexpected, how unprepared he was for that to end like that, and how, I guess in a way, maybe he was hurting if he wasn't paying attention to the signs of somebody about to, come around and clock you one.
Yeah. That was.
I always feel like Robin was just like so underrated, especially. I mean, I feel like he's always been kind of like the butt of the joke for the majority of Batman's history, but I feel like he was most involved in the animated series. Like, you actually cared about him a lot more. Like, if we compare it to, like, even the Chris O'Donnell playing Robin, nobody really cared about him. He essentially had that damsel in distress a couple times in Batman Forever. And then, like, in Titans Now, he's the best part for me in general. I think there's just so much to that character, but he's been such a butt of the joke for so long that it's hard for people to recognize how great he is.
Yeah, that him in the animated series definitely changed my my view of him, because same thing, like I kind of only remembered Robin from the Adam West show. Mm-hmm. So all I thought of Robin was, a really weird outfit and the holy this, all the cheesy catchphrases. So yeah, my respect for Robin, definitely begins with the animated series. Definitely Chris O'Donnell didn't really help the character much.
No, not at all.
The part that always stands out to me with Robin is I don't remember who the big bad in that one was. It might have been Ra's al Ghul, but it's the girl who works with Rupert Thorne, I think. Is he like the Sopranos villain type guy?
Yeah, he's the mafia guy.
Yeah, so there's like the girl that works with him, and there's an episode where Robin was like tied up on a ship in a tank, and gets like cut off, falls in the water, and the chick stands at the top, like looking down at him, and he kind of like does like the finger come towards me thing. She takes her shoes off, jumps in the water, and then they fight each other in there. That was always a legendary thing.
Yeah, I think that was the introduction of Bane.
That's what it was, because she went off with Bane. That's right.
Yeah, and then Batman slides what's his name, a recording at the end. Is like, oh, by the way, and he's like, oh no, the mafia guy. He gives the mafia guy a recording of the audio.
Yeah.
So.
Don't. Oh, sorry. Oh, okay. I was gonna say going back one, just because there's a delay. Actually, were there any other points on this one episode aside from Nightwing being introduced? I don't know if we actually talked that part.
I don't think that was the introduction of Nightwing. I think he was already Nightwing, and they just did to show why he stopped being Robin. Am I right?
Oh, that actually could be it.
Yeah, I'm fairly sure, because like they kind of did like what they did with Batman Beyond too. Obviously, there was more of a time jump. I always thought like there's a little bit of a time jump because they don't explain how come he's working with Barbara Gordon. They explain where Tim Drake came from, but they kind of left it vague. I was actually like looking back, I'm surprised they explained any of it. They didn't necessarily need to explain why he stopped being Robin, but
yeah,
kudos to them, good storytellers. They gave us what we wanted.
For sure. Going back one, because there's a delay here, and I apologize for that. Let's see, that was Anthony's, right? Oops. Andrew mentions that he also enjoyed the Cyber Gold Minotaur in that Riddler episode.
That's what was going to cut him in half. Yeah. The
Minotaur. I thought it was like some Egyptian something, but I couldn't remember what it was. I remember being gold, but I don't remember what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And they flew around on a hand. There was like the hand of fate, maybe, but whatever. There was like a weird hand that if you cheated, it was supposed to scoop you up and dump you someplace else.
Oh yeah, and he cuts it open, and then he like rewires it or something. I think that's what it was.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Sounds about right.
Mm-hmm. All right, so that was Anthony's number 2. And now we're on to my second one, which is Night of the Ninja. Now,
Ooh.
Night of the Ninja, the reason I liked that one so much was you not only got to look into his past as training to be Batman, but you also had somebody who was like beating him one-on-one and was not using like a gang of people, or there was no guns or nothing. It was just straight up ninja on ninja action. This one comes close. I almost chose the second time that they met as my pick. The only reason I chose this one was there's the cool scene where they're in the dojo and that news reporter's there. So Bruce lets himself get beat up, and Robin shows up and like throws a batarang or whatever, and like a blanket or something falls on the news reporter. And at that point, Batman's like, all right, now I can fight. Or Bruce Wayne's like, now I can fight. And that moment to me was pretty memorable one. So Night of the Ninja is my number 2.
Yeah, that was a good one. I feel like they also, if I'm remembering it right, I liked it. If I'm remembering properly, they let him he was afraid kind of almost.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
That was unexpected to see, let them admit, like, the main character, Batman no less, being afraid of somebody who can take him out.
Because he always lost to him when they were training. That's what it was.
Yeah. And then there's the inexplicable. He beats him in the end.
Mm-hmm.
But it works. But yeah, no, that almost actually, I almost picked both of your things off of both of your lists so far. So I guess we're pretty. Either it's a good series or we're just in sync already. So whichever. Little of both.
Aaron, any thoughts on that one?
I just kind of think about. I mean, it's a great episode. Don't get me wrong, but I always think about like how Batman or Bruce Wayne, I guess, has to kind of portray himself publicly versus as Bruce Wayne versus how he really is and as Batman. And I think that was probably the most, I guess, frustrating part about it is that he has to kind of do that because he's in the public eye at that point. Mm-hmm. And he's capable of it, but it's just, you want to see him punch a guy in the face more or less. Kind of like what Anthony was saying earlier. Like, I just want to see him punch somebody in the face, but it goes deeper than that.
Yeah. No, and that's the thing. It's like this series put a whole new spin that you can have like thought-provoking cartoons. They don't have to just be, beginning of the episode, good guy, end of episode, or beginning of the episode, good guy, then you have the bad guy, and then they fight, and then that's it. There's no ongoing story. There's no ongoing, maybe this one's not a bad guy. Maybe this one is, who is the bad guy type of thing. So I think that happens a couple times in this series. But in this one, it's like, this dude's, is he really a villain or he's just like has a blood vendetta after Bruce Wayne, I'm not sure. But, Andrew writes on there that he's curious, how do we all own the series? How do we watch it? And I actually do own all of them. I actually own all the box sets on DVD, but I've watched it lately on the DC app. You guys?
Yeah, I have the individual. I don't have a box set for the animated series. I have season 1 and 2, that set, and
like the volumes.
When they came out volume. Yeah, when they came out by volume, and I do have the box set of Batman Beyond, but I only watch it on the app because I actually don't own a DVD player anymore. Yeah, and I've never owned a Blu-ray player. So,
yeah, it's one of, I think it was the first like box set series that I was buying as they came out, and I was just excited for the new one to come out. Because I think at that time I only had episodes like downloaded off of like LimeWire or something.
Yeah, because at that point that was the only way you can watch it, and you didn't know you didn't know they were going to put out box sets of the whole thing. Like I think there's some great case for it now, but
yeah, well they just did a remastered on that one.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. If I could see faces, I might be able to see if you're going to talk. Freaking Anthony. Love busting your chops. All right, Aaron,
Sorry.
number 3 for you.
All right, number 3, I have one called Time Out of Joint or Out of the Joint. I don't remember which one it is.
Out of the joint. Out of
this
joint.
one, I don't remember what the title was. Sorry. This one was, again, I do like all the weird ones, I feel like, and you guys are like the deep meta ones where like Bruce Wayne's conflicted. And I just do the ones where I was just like, oh, this is kind of a weird concept but fun. But this one was with the Clock King.
Yep.
And he was essentially just like robbing banks and just like slowing down time. And it was just Batman and Robin trying to stop him from robbing banks. And like they had to like use some kind of like special thing on their motorcycles, I think, to be able to catch up to him.
Yeah.
Again, just it doesn't really fit with a lot of the deeper themes, I guess, and more adult themes of what the cartoon was. It was just like a stupid thing that I just really had a good time with.
Yeah, no, I love that episode.
Mm-hmm.
That I remember it always because I would think way too much about that sort of stuff. I was always like, how does that work? Why are they going so fast? Why are the other people? I was like that episode. Actually, I like it, but it also infuriated me at the time because I remember being like, I don't get it. Why does it work like that? And trying to figure it out. But yeah,
I do kind of remember that thing. Yeah, it was like a rectangular thing with a half circle on the top.
It was an infinity loop, an infinity design.
Oh, that's right. That's what it was.
Yeah, like I told you, if I can remember other stuff. But yep.
Yeah. No, great episode. It's one where it's funny now. I've said this probably repeatedly on various shows. I'm kind of like marathoning. Not kind of. I am marathoning Star Trek: The Next Generation, and in the first season, one of the complaints is that it's too much like the original one, where there's all these like supernatural whatever things, and they'll leave an episode after experiencing some supernatural whatever, and they're just like, all right, well that's done. Let's just go look at something else. And I remember with this one, I'm like, why doesn't Batman like try to replicate that? Like, why did he just beat the bad guy and just be like, okay, we're good here? Like, dude, you just fought somebody who figured out time travel essentially. Like, and you're just like, all right, we're all set here. We're good. You know?
Yeah.
And I feel like in a weird way, like 2 of the ones on my list, again, kind of incorporate Robin in some weird way.
Yeah.
I just feel like he's kind of like a great character that gets often forgotten. Yeah. And just having that sort of teamwork between them, even if it's not always contributing like the problem solving thing, it just was an extra piece, I guess, to the puzzle as to what made it so much fun to watch. Just growing up in general, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he was the reason that you had fun with that episode, I think, because obviously Batman's not going to be like, oh, cool. I think he even says like faster than a speeding bullet in when they use the speed things on the motorcycles. So he's great in that episode. He's the reason you enjoy. Well, I mean, you know what I mean? Like he's why you're like, oh wow, this is actually fun. That would be really cool, because if it was just Batman, you wouldn't know it was cool, because like I think actually Batman Beyond said it in Return of the Joker. He's like, he wouldn't know a good joke if it bit him in the cape. He wouldn't know a good time if it bit him in the cape either.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great movie.
Yes. Oh, actually, going back for 1 second, the blood. You've seen the director's cut where they put the blood back in like the fight, when they flash back to the fight in Arkham Asylum.
In Return of the Joker?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was actually the original version I watched.
Oh, cool. I never saw that till like years later. But that's when you mentioned the blood in the pilot episode, that got me thinking too. I didn't realize when you see blood, you're like, oh wow, it's like stakes are real. Yeah. Like when I saw it added back in, that was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Again, all of you who are watching at home, thank you for being here. Leave a thumbs up if you're enjoying the conversation. Feel free to jump in the chat and ask questions. Let us know your favorite moments, all of that, and subscribe if you've not done so already. So that wraps up Aaron's 3. What we'll do at the end is, if there's like an honorable mention you want to give, we'll all kind of have a round on that one. I only thought of it after the fact because I had a picture of what I wanted as my 3rd one and was like, ooh, I want to switch it. And then now I'm kind of like, oh, we should just mention if there's an honorable one, if we have time at the end.
All right, sounds good.
Anthony, all right, number 3.
Number 3. So like I told Steve, I'm kind of cheating because it's from Batman Beyond, but it's still, to me, it kind of wraps up the animated series. It's the pilot from Batman Beyond where it shows you, he's rescuing the daughter of the socialite, and he has to pull a gun to get them out of it because he has a heart attack. And it ties back. I feel like I have to mention later on in Batman Beyond, like they show that, you remember the exosuit that they show?
Yeah. Where
he's like, oh, it put too much strain on my heart and it gave me that. Going back to like what I said about like the toll it takes on him being Batman and how little Bruce Wayne is left. Like, anybody else does that and has a heart attack because of something they built. They're like, okay, I'm done. I should probably figure something else out. But like, I like that. Like, it shows you how dedicated he was. It also shows you how he had nothing left except for Batman because everybody's left him. He's pushed everybody away. Barbara,
left him.
Nightwing, everybody, and he has nothing else left. And it's only like, it shows you like that's probably really what it would take, either being killed or him having to resort to pulling a gun on somebody. He would need that like what's the word I'm looking for? I guess like visceral moment to be like, oh shit, I can't do this anymore. This is what I had to stoop to. Like he had the suit that made batarangs and he couldn't even think to fire one of those off. The only thing he can do was pull a gun, the last thing in the world he'd ever want to do. So
yeah,
to me that was like great, like ending for the animated series in a way, just because obviously after that he hangs it up and 20 years later Batman Beyond starts.
Isn't it in Batman Beyond there's an episode where he gets like a serum to turn young again? Wasn't that from Taj Ghul?
They bring back Ra's al Ghul.
Yeah.
Well, they bring back Talia.
Talia, that's it.
And you find out that Ra's actually put his brain in her body,
which was awesome.
And I like that. Yeah, which was awesome. But I always remember he was like when they find out.
Yep.
McGinnis is like, oh, you're creeping me out, and Bruce Wayne's like, she kissed me.
Yeah.
Like, you're freaked out. I made out with her.
Yeah.
Him, her.
Yeah.
But yeah, they do that too, and like he's young again, and like that was cool. You got to see the two of them fight side by side a little bit.
Yeah. Aaron,
any
thoughts on
Batman Beyond was just it's like the thing that they need to go to because it was so different, but also at the same time I want them to leave it alone. It's kind of a weird love-hate thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of shows. It's a lot of movies where you're just like, you want them to give it another shot, but then you're like, you're going to mess it up somehow.
For sure.
But
oh yeah.
It's a great time to have Michael Keaton do it because he's still young enough where you can add prosthetics to make him look a lot older than he is, and he'd be able to still move around and stuff, the way Batman would. Batman in his 80s probably moves around like a normal person would in their 60s type of scenario, But
definitely.
No, I definitely. It also the thing that always stood out to me on that one was Batman quit. You're just like, wow, who knew you can actually have a moment where Batman's just like, I'm good, like I just can't do this anymore. And even though the city wasn't like left on good terms, he still had to kind of just say, I can't, I have to stop. So that was always an interesting part to me on that one.
Yeah, I never thought about that part of it.
You gotta go deep with that one.
I thought I was, Steve. I'm sorry.
All right, so I'll go to my number 1, or sorry, my 3, number 1.
3.
I don't know. It's the one that Andrew actually mentioned. Feet of Clay. The Clayface origin. The reason that I chose this one was it was similar to Heart of Ice, where the person was a villain because they almost like had to become one at that moment. He wasn't necessarily like the worst person in the world. Like he wasn't a great person. He was a scumbag and whatnot. And it wasn't until he got forcibly turned into Clayface that he's like, all right, I'm just going to go heel turn here. Just embrace it. And he went full bad on it. And that was the end of that. But even just that moment where, the goons, and this is the second time that Rupert Thorne comes up in this conversation. Thorne's group pins him down on a table, and they grab the vat of clay, and he's just like screaming, like, "No, don't do it. That's too much." And they show you just a shadow silhouette. And as a kid, you're just like, "Wow, that's kind of again like we're pushing the line here on what's appropriate for a kids show." But you know, anytime there's that mix of is the person really a bad guy? Do they want to be a bad guy, or they're just kind of forced into it? That always kind of stands out to me. So, Feet of Clay was my my third one.
It's kind of funny that you mentioned that because I think that was actually the last episode of the animated series that I watched most recently.
Oh wow!
Oh. I remember that actually like I feel like that one like freaked me out, like seeing them do that. I was like, oh my god, because I thought they killed him. Obviously you find out real quick they didn't, but I think I was just like, oh my god, they killed him. Like this is insane. Yeah. And I think actually, I don't mean to be a dick, I think it was the guy they used in Dark Knight Rises, though. It wasn't the mob guy, it was Daggett, I think.
Oh, you're right. That was Daggett in that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good call.
Good
call on that one.
That's for saying I wasn't going deep enough before I had to fact check you on your own show. I'm being a rude guest right now.
You're right. No, you're right. Because all I could see was was that I knew it was a mafia guy and the goons, and I had the wrong one. And that's funny because Daggett's the other one I was thinking of, and I couldn't think. I was like, I know there's another mafia guy, and I can't place it. What you reminded me of just now too. This isn't my honorable mention, but I was just reminded of it. There was that other crime family in the show, and you had that episode where the Batman was trying to stop him from getting killed by Daggett, I think, or maybe it was by Thorne, and the guy ends up getting like freaked out on some train tracks, and then it turns out that his best friend, you thought he died when they were kids on the train tracks. Do you remember that episode?
I remember. I don't remember all. Yeah.
It sounds vaguely familiar, but I don't remember exactly which one it was.
Yeah, I'll look it up afterwards and put it on Instagram. And I don't want to like spoil any part of it in case you guys decide to look up that episode, but it was one where there was a mafia guy, and the entire time he's almost like seeing firsthand like the reactions to what he's done throughout his crime career, and it comes back at the end where his best friend as a kid died, and that's what led to him going his direction. So that just came to mind.
Yeah. Huh.
All right.
I'd have to look up that one, but yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a good one.
Yeah. The Feet of Clay one is also a great moment, obviously, for Batman too, because it shows you like we were saying before, it shows him having to outthink the bad guy, because this is a villain who, whether he's a bad guy because he is or because he was forced to be, he can't beat him. Like, his karate and all his training and detective skills isn't, not his detective skills. He has to rely on his brain. He has to outsmart him.
Yep.
So, cool Batman moment.
So, Aaron, do you have a honorable mention maybe that you want to give, or was there one that you really wanted on the list and you're like, last minute pulled it off?
I was kind of debating. I don't remember the name of the episode. I think it's like something along the lines of like Almost Got Him, something like that, where it's essentially just like his rogues gallery sitting around a table. I think they're like playing poker or something like that.
Yep.
And they're just basically talking about different stories where they almost had beaten Batman. I just think that was just I don't want to say a shock, but it just like seeing that other side of the coin of like these guys thinking like they had the upper hand on him or anything like that. And anytime you have like an ensemble of the rogues gallery kind of together, whether it's sitting around a table or just showing up all at the same location, I always found kind of fun, just because anything could realistically happen. Kind of same way with like Sinister Six and Spider-Man, where if you throw all of them at him at the same time, how's he going to balance them all? But just like they're kind of just roundtable discussion about how they almost beat Batman in whatever way, but for whatever reason they didn't.
Right.
Yeah. I almost picked that one. That was one of my almost one of my three.
And it wasn't at the entire time he was one of them at the table.
He was Killer Croc.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, I just watched that. Well, I skimmed through it to be like, wait, I know I love this episode. Why is it going to be on the list? And I was skimming through it.
Yeah.
and I couldn't. I gave it to the other three, obviously, but yeah, he's Killer Croc in the end, the whole time.
Anthony, your honorable mention. It sounds like you had a couple actually that you were gonna throw in there.
I mean, yeah, I definitely like the whole series.
Any episode not mentioned is an honorable mention.
Yeah, basically. Well, it was a really good episode. But it's not Batman related. But I guess it could. I mean, obviously it could be Robin's Reckoning part, where you find, where you see how Dick Grayson came into his world and all that stuff. Those were two really good episodes, and because it showed, because it made Robin like badass at the end when he's just like, tearing ass across Gotham to track down him, and he actually like no damsel in distress moment for Robin in that episode. He just like he's basically, that was like kind of, if they transitioned to Nightwing after that, you'd be like, oh, okay, cool, I get it.
Yeah.
But that whole those, I think, was it 2 or 3-parter, whatever it was. Those episodes were great.
And that's the one where he does the Akira motorcycle thing, where he chases down the guy, and at the end of the boardwalk slides the motorcycle sideways.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's sick.
Which, as a new motorcycle rider, I never ever want to try any of that.
Sure.
That was something that I was always liked about the series, was obviously the style was really cool, but they really like amped up a lot of like the motorcycle or like vehicle stuff. Like, I think the most iconic probably one of Batmobiles was from the animated series.
Yeah.
But I always loved it when they did their motorcycle stuff.
Yeah.
For some reason, like it just felt so much cooler when they were on their motorcycles for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same thing whenever they threw the Batwing in. It was just nice to see him like having all this other stuff for whatever reason. But yeah.
And a really dope toy as well, the Batwing. Because that one had I remember my friend had it, and it had a I think it was a compartment on the bottom, so he could like slide out to like kick somebody or something like that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I actually didn't have. I've been thinking. I don't have a lot of toys from the animated series. I have had anyway. I had a whole lot of 1989 Batman toys. I still have the Batcave down in the basement.
Oh, nice.
But not a lot from this show.
I know. Andrew sent me a picture just now online on Instagram saying that he had, I guess, one of the figures from the show. So I'll put that on Instagram afterwards.
I remember. I think I had. I want to say. I know I for sure had like just like a generic sort of Batman from the animated series, generic Robin, with like the capes that were like kind of like removable or something.
Yep.
Because they had like the actual cloth capes with like this little half ring thing that went on the back of the neck.
Yeah.
I had like those, but I don't know if I really had anything beyond those two. I mean, I know I had like some from like the various movies, but yeah, I don't think I really had a ton from the actual animated series.
You actually just reminded me. One of the animated series figures I had, and actually with the ring thing, I had a Superman from the motion picture. His cape was one of those half ring things, but the Batman was a Bruce Wayne changing one, and the Bruce Wayne part when he was just that, from like around the traps to like his chest would sink down, and then you attached the Batman cowl part. With the bat symbol on his chest and cape part on top of that.
You know what's crazy? I had that's the only animated series Batman I had.
There you go.
That one sounds really familiar. So, I think I maybe had that one as well. It sounds familiar because I remember there was one that had a removable cowl.
Yeah.
Yeah. And is it orange?
Yeah.
Or something?
There's some sort of like orange red to it for some odd reason. I repainted it. I remember.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I used to do
that. Why do they do that? I mean, to sell toys, but all the weird like Batman with neon green. Yeah. Like, did you guys not read the books?
Well, they always did it because you had to sell a different version, and that's I was watching the Toys That Made Us, and they were like, with the Ninja Turtles especially, they were like, all right, we made the 4 turtles. How else can we do this? And they're like, I don't know. What if Donatello was a detective, and what if Michelangelo was a surfer? And they were like, oh yeah, well, why don't we just keep this going? And then they just made a whole thing. It was nuts.
Yeah, like that. I mean, I know this is a Batman discussion, but like just like some of the weird toys that would come out.
Yeah.
Like there was, I think I have that Donatello you're talking about, or like the Raphael and the trench coat one.
Yeah.
I don't remember which one it was, but there was like another weird one where like they could like shoot like there's like these little pizza chip things. You kind of like backloaded it, and then like you could like shoot them out or something like that. Like just weird toys that came out that we, for whatever reason, just needed to have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
my honorable mention, I will say, is I should have loaded the picture on here. I ran out of buttons, actually. The honorable mention is the one where he fights the werewolf dude. Because that was one of the episodes where I actually was afraid watching the show. And the final part is they go to like a Coliseum or something. And, you know, Batman's going, and as he's on the way to the Coliseum, I think that's when the moon is starting to come out. So it's building tension as he's on his way to that Coliseum or whatever. And then he gets to the center, and then the wolf is on top of it and howls at the moon, and you're just like, whoa, this is yeah. And then there's another one.
Was he actually a werewolf, or was it a serum?
It was a serum. And then I got confused because they ended up doing the serum thing again with Catwoman, where she turned into a cat and fell in love with the dude who turned into a cat. So in my brain, I had fused them together, but it was a werewolf guy, but he had a serum that would change him. And I think the final amount he took would like permanently make him the wolf. Yeah.
They don't use serums enough in modern stuff.
No, they probably forgot about it.
like in the 90s, like they used serums for everything.
Yeah.
Like, that was like the main thing. Like it could turn you from one thing to another. Now they don't use it anymore. I don't know. It's just a weird thing.
They don't use serums, and they don't use also like the floppy disk. Well, obviously, but in the 90s, a floppy disk could had a code on it that would save or end the world.
Yeah.
Or a zip disk.
So I almost just said that same thing, and the only reason I didn't was they brought it back in Rogue One.
Yes.
Rogue One was a disc.
Didn't know anything about it.
And the other thing, I just realized this last year watching New Hope, because I don't watch New Hope that often. In the movie, because people were like, why would they resort to a disc or the cassette game thing in a Star Wars movie? And when you watch New Hope, they say they were able to get the Death Star plans on a disc. So it's like they actually just did what the original movie said they got. That's why they went that direction. And people are all like upset about it. And it's like, no, if you actually watch the next movie, it had to be on a disc, or else it would have broke continuity.
Yeah, it's called continuity, boys and girls.
It is.
Be happy they didn't change it too much. Yeah. Or at all, I guess.
Well, you know,
they'll CG replace it.
Yeah. I have to say, I think we mislabeled this episode because we actually didn't ramble. We actually stayed on topic the entire time.
Well, yeah, now we're rambling. Yeah, but
we made it to the end before.
Well,
it took us. I don't even know how long we've been going. Like
how long we've been? It took us like an hour, but we
like
rambled.
An hour.
Yeah,
we got there.
Yeah, I think it was awesome.
I'm
I liked it.
I'm counting it. I don't care.
I think we'll need a series for when the three of us do a show together.
Yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, I think that makes a good live show, wrapping it up at just about an hour. Before we leave, anything that you both want to plug at all? Well, again, alphabetical order. We'll go with Aaron first.
I don't think so. Other than my channel, I mean, you plug it plenty, which I greatly appreciate. Aaron Waller across pretty much anything, or Aaron Waller YT. Have new videos cinematically late every single Thursday. And then I've got a bunch of other new stuff coming out. I've got my Scoop review that just came out. I'm working on something regarding Tenet, so that'll be coming out soon. I've got another one about movie websites. Just a bunch of new stuff, so make sure you're subscribed for that stuff. And of course, yourself. And I don't know if nobody in the chat, I don't think, mentioned it, but I'm just going to go ahead and put it out there. If anybody noticed that Archer's got on a little bit of extra merch.
A little bit.
He just had a video come out talking about his mug, and he's showcasing a little bit there.
Unintentionally. That was not that was not meant to be like some sort of a hidden
not an
Easter egg.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah. I also enjoyed how you went from having nothing to plug to you do have a lot.
You have a lot.
And I was going to correct you if you left it at nothing. I was going to be like, wait a minute, actually no. So.
Well, it's kind of like when everybody's like, "How's it going?" I'm just like, "Oh, same old."
That's true.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's
And
the same old for me, I guess. But I guess if for so I mean, it's the same old for me, I guess. If for your audience, it's all this new stuff. So
yeah. Awesome. Anthony, anything on your end or?
Like always, just be sure to like and subscribe to HeyArcher and Aaron Waller.
There you go. Yeah, for myself, almost at 200 subscribers. So once that happens, it will be, there's a lot to it, I guess, but long story short, I always say, if you're watching any of the HeyArcher labeled stuff, you're in the inner circle. So I can tell you the spoilers. The merch line. So when I hit 200, within 24 to 48 hours, I will launch the merch. And I also will give away some mugs, but you can go watch that video to get all the minute details of that. But I think that about wraps it up. I wish I had the labels for what my buttons were, so I knew which one would be the outro button.
Come on, man! You got like the whole Rodecaster and Elgato, and you don't have a button label.
No, so it's funny. I do. And hey, what's up, Charmaine? I do have. It came with a label thing, and you can like write with marker what each one's supposed to be. And normally in the video, I have on the screen to the right side of the screen, I have a virtual version of that, and I just don't have it up now because it would block your face on the stream.
Block our faces, man.
Well, I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna take a guess here. That's it. Whoa, we got it.
There you go.
So yeah, thank you everybody for being here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for leaving a thumbs up. Thanks for subscribing. Check out Aaron's channel as well. Subscribe there. And hopefully down the road, Anthony will take my advice and start his own channel. But otherwise, Anthony's content lives here on HeyArcher in the Rambling series.
Indeed.
And of course, we'll talk to all you nerds in the next video. Peace.